Zaldrizes Buzdaris goes down.
Man, that was if you haven't already seen my live stream and my episode 1 breakdown, please go watch it. But I'll say it again right here. That was the best episode of any adaptation, not just of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, but of any sort of work, fantasy in particular, but also of sci-fi that's been adapted from the source material. That first episode was insanely loyal, Fire and Blood. And one of the things they typically do after an episode is show you what's going to happen in the next episode. They did us one better. For episode 1, they released what's going to happen for the rest of the season. Now, I've picked several moments from that I haven't really discussed in my videos, because remember, we've been getting trailers and teasers and promos and all that stuff, and some of this footage is recycled. But what I've done is picked several things from that I want to discuss. Before I jump into any of that, if you haven't already done so, please, if you're a fan of my stuff, make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube, and then turn your notifications all the way on. Tune 11. So that way, you'll get an alert every single time I drop a video throughout the entirety of House of the Dragon Season 1. Usually on this channel, the wait for House of the Dragon, or the wait for Game of Thrones, or the wait for the Winds of Winter book is known as the Long Night. I call it that because, well, it's kind of hard when we don't have any Song of Ice and Fire content. So if you've already subscribed and turned those notifications on, please do me one more favor. Slap a like on this video. Like goal is going to be 420. Okay, so the first thing, and this is, I know I'm contradicting myself here, but this has been shown a bunch. It was one of the first things we saw from the very first trailer. Daemon and Mysaria and Sir Otto and Criston Cole and Caraxes and eventually Syrax and Rhaenyra. This scene will happen in the next episode. Daemon's literally leaving King's Landing with Mysaria to go to Dragonstone to attempt to steal an egg. She's pregnant with his child. We will find out about it in the next episode, and it'll be really interesting to see what Rhaenyra is doing here. Like, it looks like she's standing in between them, or she lands her dragon behind Sir Otto, but she's sort of like standing in between them. Like, this standoff isn't going to end the way you think it is. Like, Rhaenyra probably is going to choose Sir Otto and Criston Cole's side, because clearly this is before they've had a falling out. And also, Sir Otto is acting directly under the orders of King Viserys, Prince Daemon's brother. So I can't wait to finally see this scene in all of its entirety. And then real quick, we're also going to have the War for the Stepstones. That will be likely starting in episode 2. Like, Daemon and Corlys by the end of the episode will be either heading to the Stepstones or already down there beginning to wage war. That's one of the things that one of the co-creators of the show is famous for. Episodes in Game of Thrones like Battle of the Bastards, right? That cinematography is better than anything from the Lord of the Rings movies, right? So this guy, Miguel Sapochnik, the director of that episode, Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 6, right? He's now a showrunner for this show, House of the Dragon. There's going to be lots of battles, and I would not be surprised if we didn't see the start for the War of the Stepstones. And then also, you know, from that little in the weeks ahead, look ahead kind of thing, there's a voiceover, and it could be Alicent and Viserys, but the person says, "From my blood comes the prince that was promised." It's clearly a female. That's a prophecy that we've basically heard a lot with in episode 1. That's the Song of Ice and Fire, right? So you will need someone to unite the world, or the 7 kingdoms, to prevent the Long Night, the White Walkers, from coming. So it'll be interesting to see. It could be Lena and Daemon when they go to Valyria, but that's just yeah, it's possible. Like, this isn't all clips from episode 2, so we could be getting a voiceover from like episode 4, episode 3, and it could be possible that Lena and Daemon are over in the ruins after they fly to Pentos. They go to the ruins of an old Valyrian fortress, and they find this, like, mysteriously, you know, a prophecy written on the wall or some shit like that. And then another thing that I want to mention from the actual you know, weeks ahead is there's someone climbing the rocks, and this is most likely the Stepstones. And I feel like this shot, I don't know what's going on here, but it's definitely in the Stepstones. But I feel like this shot will have callbacks to Jon Snow climbing the wall. Maybe someone's fallen, or perhaps there's a you know, someone who's like a scout and is tasked with climbing up to this high ledge in the Stepstones to get a look at what Kragus Crahar, the crab feeder, is doing. And then another really interesting scene, and I kind of have this one figured out. There's someone who's clearly dressed up in, like, poor fellows clothes. When I say poor fellows, I don't actually mean like the holy men from the books. I just mean like a poor beggared person, like a citizen of King's Landing. There's someone in those kinds of clothes. Clearly they're wearing like this That's kind of like a modern looking beanie. It's weird, but anyway, they're sneaking out of the Red Keep. They're walking past the skull of Balerion, and it's nighttime, so obviously they're doing something they're not supposed to. And if you've read Fire and Blood, then you know exactly what this is. This is probably a scene from episode 2, and this is likely when Rhaenyra sneaks out to go and meet with her uncle, Daemon, who maybe is likely supposed to be, banned from the city. So maybe this doesn't happen in episode 2. Maybe this is when Daemon comes back after Rhea Royce dies, right? So, but it's definitely Rhaenyra sneaking out to the Street of Silk, which is basically the street in King's Landing that's filled with whores, right? So Rhaenyra sneaking out there to go and meet with Daemon, and she's going to teach him basically how to fuck. It'll be interesting to see what the show does, because this scene in particular is according to Mushroom's testimony, which in Fire and Blood, there's like 3 different canonical sources. Mushroom is one of them. He's a fool, a jester, and he will be in this show, which is really exciting. Ryan Condal has confirmed that in an interview recently. Mushroom will either be a background character who shows up in a lot of scenes and you kind of have to spot him out, or he may have a speaking role. You don't really know yet, but he's going to be in the show, which is really awesome. So since he survived all of the events of the dance in the books, his testimony is given credit in certain places, and it looks like Ryan Condal and Miguel Sapochnik are going with that version when Rhaenyra sneaks out to go meet with him. Or I could be completely wrong, and that's not Rhaenyra, and that's someone sneaking into the Red Keep when they shouldn't be. Another thing, and this has to be addressed, Daemon and Viserys squaring off on the ground. Daemon has short hair here, so this is clearly a time jump. This is likely right after that scene that I was just describing. That's going to happen in the TV show, whether that other scene that I was just talking about is linked to it or not. Daemon is being threatened by the cat's, like, with a knife to his throat by the king with the cat's paw dagger, right? So clearly he's done something like just take, either had just been found in bed with Rhaenyra and has just taken her maidenhood, and that's pretty much the only option. Like, why else would the king threaten his brother with a knife? But that's ultimately probably when Daemon leaves for the Stepstones. Who knows? It's going to be interesting, like I said, to see the way that this show decides to pick which version of the source is canon for the TV universe anyway. And then we also have one of the Cargill twins handing over the crown. Oh, let me do a spoiler alert for this one. But there's Eric and Arik Cargill, and they basically side. One of them sides with the Greens, and one of them sides with the Blacks. So one of them sides with Rhaenyra, one of them sides with Alicent. And the one that we see kneeling in front of Rhaenyra, handing her father's crown, is kind of an interesting. In the books, basically, after Viserys dies, Alicent keeps it secret for 2 weeks. She keeps Viserys' body rotten in his room for 2 weeks before announcing it to the realm that, hey, I've crowned Aegon, and he's pretty much usurped the throne from Rhaenyra. But Rhaenyra does find out, and it's when Alicent sends for the Conqueror's crown to be, brought forth so that she can so that Kristen Cole can place it upon the head of Aegon II, her son that she has with Viserys, a character that we have not yet seen, right? When she does this, she sends away Jaehaerys and Viserys' crown, the one that we see him wearing in the show, and when she does that, Arik Cargill, steals the crown and goes and tells Rhaenyra what's happened on Dragonstone. So that's what's happening in this clip, where Rhaenyra is being handed her father's crown. And then we have a shot of Vhagar. I did see quite a few comments saying they're not that impressed with Vhagar, either the size or how she looks. I will say, just wait. Vhagar is going to probably be a fan favorite. And when we get a close-up of her face, we'll realize she doesn't quite look as much like a bulldog or something. I don't know. I like the way she looks. I didn't really have any complaints. And then lastly, before I get out of here, the shot, we keep seeing Kragas Drahar. Spoiler alert, Daemon kills him in single combat. He beheads him with Dark Sister. That's going to happen on this TV show. Initially, I thought from the leaked photos of him, because it's from far away, I thought, hey, this dude's going to have grayscale. But then, now that we've seen it, how it's going to look on the TV show, I think he's just been burned really badly. So maybe he's got burns from pre-existing battles with Daemon before he's ultimately killed by him. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please slap a like on this video, and a super special thank you to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/reviews. And if you're unaware, Patreon is just a way for me to directly combat YouTube delisting my channel. I don't know what's going on with the view count. If you'll look and see when Game of Thrones was on, I had a bunch of views, and then all of that sort of disappeared. So basically, long story short, Patreon is just a way for me to combat that. So I'm going to keep making content content. I'm going to keep making my videos way better than they were before. But if you can't do that, the best thing you can do for people that you enjoy here on YouTube is just to watch their videos, right? So thank you for doing that. Consider sharing it on a different platform if you want to. And thanks again, you, for watching. My name is Mark, and this has been Sir Hunts. Along that,